So you're not interested in politics. You are too civilized for governance conversations. You are too peaceful for policy arguments. You roll your eyes when people start discussing who should lead or how budgets are spent. Let me be honest with you, that's not wisdom. That's apathy and fear disguised as peace. If you're saying you're not interested in politics in Nigeria, what you're really saying is that you've made peace with chaos. You are saying, I'm fine with whatever nonsense they decide for me. Your rent, your school fees, your safety, your salary, even the quality of the air you breathe, all of it is shaped by policy. That big pothole on the road leading to your house is politics. That hospital in your area with no oxygen is politics. And God help you, if you ever need that oxygen, that's exactly when you'll understand what people mean when they say Nigeria happened to someone. You'd rather scroll past a governance post to go watch gossip about celebrities. You'd rather share gossips than repost a thread about fuel subsidy or electoral reform, things that affect your political lives. And that's the biggest trick about the system in Nigeria. It makes you silent. The UK, the US, Canada, your favorite destinations, they are locking their doors tighter than ever. Canada's new policy literally caps the number of international students. The UK is cutting dependent visas. The US is rejecting record high number of work permits. How do you want to jabber? You want to borrow 30 million just to flee the country and become an even bigger slave than you already are. Bad governance will always find you. You may not care about politics, but politics cares deeply about you. When the price of rice doubles, it's policy. When your business struggles because of power bills or whatever bill, it's policy. When your dream job never comes because economy is strangled by corruption, that's governance. You can't jabber from bad governance. Even in London or Toronto, you still feel Nigeria's incompetence through your parents who can access healthcare back home, through the exchange rate that devours your remittances, through the headlines that still make your heart heavy. So let's stop pretending that being non-political makes you mature. It makes you irrelevant. And irrelevance is very expensive in a collapsing state. You know, I think that the real virus is apathy. We've built a generation of brilliant, creative people who somehow think that knowing nothing about their own government is something to be proud of. We laugh, we tweet, we make memes saying Nigeria will happen to you, pray that Nigeria doesn't happen to you, but we never stop to ask why Nigeria keeps happening and why people in government keep letting it happen. We love the vibes more than political conversation. We love music concerts more than policy roundtables. We love influencer gossips more than National Assembly public hearings. And yet, the people who ignore civic conversations will still cry out, that the country is hard. Every day on social media, people keep crying that the country is hard. But you refuse to get involved because governance and political talk is boring to you. The political elite love your silence. They depend on it. Every time you say, I beg, leave politics for politicians, they clap. They are so happy because you've just volunteered your freedom. Let's talk about electoral reform because this is where the fight actually begins. Not on election day, but on the small, boring, technical details of reform. Election reform is about making sure your vote actually counts and that a man sitting in his house cannot write fake results that decide your future for 8 years. When we talk about electoral reform, we are talking about transparency, technology, that stops rigging. We're talking about campaign finance laws that make it harder for money bags to buy democracy. We're talking about independent electoral bodies that can't be bullied by people in government. We're talking about a system that makes it possible for youth candidates to win on merit, not godfather money. So when you say you are not interested in politics, what you're really saying is that you don't care whether your generation gets a fair chance. And that is sad. But I want to go, deeper on how social media has betrayed us. If you look around, our social media feeds are flooded with noise. We don't engage with serious ideas because they don't trend. We now measure importance by engagement, not impact. We have built a digital culture that rewards stupidity and punishes sense. And the more unserious we become, the easier it gets for Nigerian political system to manipulate us. Because the less informed you are, the cheaper your votes become. The less you care, the more someone else decide what happens to your life. And after all that, you still don't get involved. You still don't want to get involved. You still don't want to get involved in the one conversation that could make your life better. Activists are out here working day and night for electoral reform, fighting for your rights. They need your support, not your sympathy. It's cute to go out and cheer Hilda Basti while she cooks. It's very good. But did you show up at the National Assembly when citizens were protesting for electoral reform? We have to place it side by side. At the end of the day, there is what I call a psychological trap in this country. They have convinced you that politics is dirty so that you can stay clean and useless. They've convinced you that activism is for troublemakers so that you stay silent and comfortable. They've convinced you that governance is boring so that you stay entertained with irrelevant content. And that's why nothing changes. Because the people who should be leading the conversation, the intelligent, critical, passionate young Nigerians, have left the table. You think you are avoiding stress, but you are avoiding destiny. You think you are being smart, but you are being sidelined. And for me, that is the painful irony. I have a fundamental disagreement with people who say Nigeria will never change. My argument is simple. If we care enough, if we engage enough, we can spark the brains that will make a difference. The same people who say Nigeria is useless are the same ones who have seen young people change music, fashion, and tech across entire continent. We made Afrobeats global. We have amazing young people who have built billion-dollar fintechs. We created global content empire. We proved we can build and win anywhere in the world. But somehow, when it comes to building a country that we can be proud of, we check out. Not because we lack the talent or the capacity, but because we have refused to engage and stay informed about politics and governance. Because deep down, many of us believe governance is someone else's job, some old politician's responsibility. It is not. It is ours. It is our responsibility to make it extremely difficult for politicians to get a free ride on corruption. We must question every move, interrogate every policy, protest every decision that doesn't serve the people. We have to make public office so uncomfortable for mediocrity that corruption itself becomes exhausting. We have to make them understand it is very hard to betray the people's trust. And we have not been doing a good job at it, because that's the only way power respects you, when they know you are watching, questioning, and ready to push back. You cannot destroy what you don't understand. You cannot reform what you don't engage. The Nigerian political system is not a ghost. It is a set of laws, incentives, and relationships. The same creativity we use for TikTok dance challenges could be used to decode budgets, analyze policies, and organize communities and pressure lawmakers. Civic engagement is not about screaming, it's about knowledge, knowing where the money goes, knowing who is lying, knowing when to act. You don't need to be a politician to change politics. You have to understand the policies. And that's the only way you know when to apply pressure, recognize when to protest, when to negotiate. But first, we have to stop pretending that politics doesn't matter. Every generation in history that achieved freedom did it by refusing to stay silent. The Nigerian youth cannot build a future they refuse to understand. We can't keep dancing around dysfunction and expecting miracles. When you refuse to engage in political and governance conversation, you give permission to those who will. And those who will are the ones you later complain about. One of the things I figured very early on is that the people who are holding this country hostage, they don't care about whether we survive or not. They don't care about how we survive. They only care about looting the country dry. They are stealing the next generation. While you are there saying you don't care about politics. So what do you care about? You care about the new club in Abuja. You care about shutting down Moscow underground and shutting down everywhere else. We have to care about politics. It matters. It is the most important thing in our lives. Stay engaged, stay organized, stay focused. This is Civic Room with Menkiti, and I'll see you in the next episode.